All right, FFA, I'm here. Hey, go to the chat or to the WhatsApp chat if you guys don't mind, and let me know that you see me. This thing has been kicking me off of this live feed since I've been trying to get this thing going. So I'm going to give it a minute. Hopefully you guys can see me on here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I see some people are posted in here. Got you, Sam. Thank you. So, yeah, guys, hey, if it cuts off on us, it is glitching hardcore this morning on this live feed. But I want you guys to think about all of the roadblocks that you have hit so far this week. And I'm going to do a deep dive with you on today's call on how to anticipate them and then how to overcome them. So think about the hardest objections you've gotten. Go to the WhatsApp chat, drop it in the chat. What was something that somebody said to you this week that prevented you from being able to actually close the presentation and close it down? We're going to dive into it. So going into next week, you're prepared and ready to roll. So before we do that, though, let's give some agents a big shout out. I want to give Kelly a huge shout out working with Honey Rock because she had a phenomenal day yesterday. Every day in the WhatsApp chat, I see her posting a sale. So big shout out to Kelly. Want to give KZ a huge shout out. Kaylee, check it out. Head over. I think it was $7,700 of business just yesterday. So huge day for her. So big shout out to KZ. And guys, so many of you deserve a shout out. I could go through our entire agency chat and shout out all your names. So hats off to everybody in the agency as a whole for just running to new heights, constantly pushing yourself. I see all the hard work that you're putting in, and we are super proud of you. So today's verse of the day, I had it pulled up on the feed, right? But it kicked off on us. But the verse of the day, it said, we're all like sheep wandering, right? We all fall off of our course, but through Christ, we're grounded and brought back. And so, guys, I want you to think about that verse going into this weekend, going into the week. Don't carry old baggage with you, all right, into your future. So it doesn't matter what you may have done right this week, what you may have done wrong. It doesn't matter. Starting this morning, we're all made new, right? In him and in the sacrifice that he made for us. So give yourself grace. Don't hold back and just be excited for your future because it's an exciting time for you to grow, not just in your career, but in your spiritual life, your physical life, your health, everything, right? You can only ever get better from this point forward. So jumping into today's call, guys, I want you guys to go to that WhatsApp chat, drop in the roadblocks that you have ran into, and I'm going to go through and answer all of these. But as we jump into this, I want you guys to think about what is the best way to overcome a roadblock? All right. I was driving home last week and on US 1 coming through Sanford for all my North Carolina folks, there was this massive accident. Car flipped up on the ramp, flipped over, actually started on fire. And as I'm pulling up to this, it's just backed up traffic, right? For like as long as I could see. And I got stuck sitting there for like an hour, right? Not a big deal, just some traffic. But the most painful thing, okay, for me was right behind my truck was an exit. And had I known that this thing was about to be here, I was about to be stuck in this for 2 hours, I could have just got off the exit, went around the roadblock, and it would have been so easy if I anticipated it. But I wasn't paying attention to my map, right? That was telling me it was in the red with a 40-minute slowdown. Had I been paying attention and anticipating that, I could have just took the exit and got home like normal, right? So your presentation, whether you're doing this job virtually on the phone or in person, is very much the same concept. You can anticipate the roadblocks that your clients are going to give you, and you can navigate around them to where it's just easy sailing for you, right? But if you're a new agent, heck, even experienced agent, sometimes, guys, you walk yourself right into the roadblock like I did in that traffic jam, and I'm sitting there and I'm stuck. Okay, so what are some common roadblocks that you're going to run into as you're trying to close some deals? Okay, number one, this was one I was talking to Corey about yesterday that him and Andrew ran into. The spouse, right? They got into a house, they got into a presentation. The spouse, the husband wanted coverage, but the wife was working. And so they locked it all down, right? He wanted it, but at the very end, he wanted his wife to make the decision, wanted her to be there, right? And so that ended up in them having to schedule an appointment to come back. So that's a big roadblock. So, guys, if you're ever presenting to somebody that is married, has a spouse, right? Maybe not even married, maybe they have a kid that lives with them that helps them with stuff. There's another decision maker, right? In that presentation that is not present. You want to anticipate that roadblock and take it off the table before they hit you with it. So how would I do that? Really simple, right? If I'm presenting to you, you're my client, your spouse is at work, for whatever, right? We go through the presentation, you want the coverage, but I know in the back of my head that you're going to tell me, hey, this is great, but I got to talk it over with my spouse first, right? 99% of the time, that's going to happen. If it's a kid, right, that lives with them and they handle things, it's, hey, this is great. I want this, but I want my son to be at home. I want to go over this with him first before we finish anything. You as the agent should be expecting that roadblock to come up. So before you jump into trying to do the application, the best way to overcome that is to tell them to do the very thing that you think they're going to hit you with. All right. And so it's very simple, right? Hey, Miss Betty, look, I know, Mr. Jack's at work today. I'm sure if you guys are anything like me and my wife, you're going to want to talk this over with him first. So what I need you to do is make sure when he gets home, you go over everything with him. You talk it all over with him and make sure he's on board and he wants the same thing that you want. But as you do that, I have some homework to do first. I got to get you qualified for this thing before you guys really even have anything to talk about, right? Is Mr. Jack going to be your beneficiary? And I'm just rolling through the application. Guys, a lot of times the spouse objection is just a roadblock for they don't really know if they want to do it yet. All right. And you can walk right around that objection by telling them to do the exact thing you know they're going to hit you with. All right. I've never done that and then had a client say, don't do it yet. I want to talk to him first. Right? They just go with it. You're like, yeah, Ryan, I do want to talk to my spouse first or my kid first or my cousin or my sister or whoever it is, right? You're telling them to do that. Right, guys, when they sign up for this plan, it's not like they're selling their house. Like if Mr. Jack comes home and he's like, no, I don't want you to have the 10,000. I want you to have the 12,000 or I want you to have the 5,000. You can just change it. It's not a big deal, right? So anticipating that roadblock is huge. But this is one of those objections that if you don't beat it before it becomes an objection, you're never going to get past it. All right. You can't come back to, hey, I want to talk to my spouse. And then you're like, well, why don't we try to get you approved first? It's too late. It's like me being in that traffic jam. I just passed the exit. I can't back my truck up now and get off and get around it. So you've got to tell them to do that very thing first. All right. So that's number one. Let's go into the WhatsApp chat and see what else you guys posted here. Hold on. I'm catching up in our chat. There we go. Okay. I see Scott posted one here. And this is a good one, Scott. Scott said, I didn't fill that out. 3 agents have already came by this week. All right. So that's a big one. If you guys hit this at the door, my number one tip for beating this roadblock, okay, whenever somebody tells me something, I want to see how their personality is for it. All right. So if they're saying, hey, I didn't fill that out, 3 agents have already came by this week, that's telling me that that person is frustrated, that 3 people have came by this week for this very thing. All right. So how am I going to beat that? I'm going to be frustrated with them, right? I don't want to try to tell them that they're wrong or anything like that, but I want to embrace their frustration. So I'm going to say, what the heck, Miss Betty? That's probably super annoying for you. I bet it's extremely frustrating to have people keep showing up at your door, right? And she's probably going to go off on a tangent of, yep, this is crazy, whatever, whatever. And as she's doing that, I'm looking for something that is going to make her in a good mood. All right. I'm looking at her landscaping. I'm seeing, okay, maybe she has flowers that I can tell she really cares about, right? Maybe she has, maybe her car is extremely clean. Maybe she has a sports flag, or she's wearing a t-shirt about something that she likes. Maybe I can see there's kids' toys for her grandkids in the yard. As she's kind of voicing the frustration, I'm immediately trying to pick up on what can I pivot to that's going to put her in a good mood. And then I'm going to just not even acknowledge the objection or the door approach again. I'm going to say, Miss Betty, I see those kids' toys over there. How many grandkids do you have? I've got 4 kids of my own. How many grandbabies do you have? And I'm going to let her start talking about her grandbabies. I'm going to pivot to something that she likes. And we're going to talk about that for a minute, 2 minutes at the door. And the minute I see a smile, that is my green light to say, hey, Miss Betty, look, I know you're super frustrated with these agents. Keep showing up on here, but it must be because for some reason, nobody's been able to help you yet. I'm going to make sure I'll do that. Is my truck okay parked right there? And then we'll never come back again. And I'm just going into the presentation. She's going to let me in, though, because we were just talking about something she liked. All right, guys, sometimes if you're getting roadblocked at the door, it's because you're just way too robotic. Like, here's your lead. You filled it out. The client says, no, I didn't. And you're like, well, yes, you did. And it just doesn't go anywhere, right? You have to have a personality and you have to pull out something that they like. And sometimes the best way to get into a door is to not even talk about why you're there. It's to talk about other things that you know that they clearly like by picking up on that, right? One tip for you guys on this door approach objection. Anytime I pull into a driveway, now this is kind of hard if you're doing telesales, right? But if you're in the field, anytime I pull into a driveway, I'm immediately picking out the thing that I'm going to pivot to if they answer the door in a bad mood. I'm looking at landscaping. Is it clean? Is it not clean? If it's clean, I know they care about their yard. I'm going to have them talk about that. I'm looking at cars in the driveway. I'm looking at kids' toys, sports flags, signs they might have up, pictures, you name it. There's always something in somebody's front yard that will give you an idea of the kind of person you're about to talk to. And you can then kind of use that, right? So anytime I go up to a door, I've got that in the back of my head. And the minute they throw me an objection, I'm pivoting to that thing. All right. Like sometimes I don't even try to beat the objection. Hey, I'm sick. Come back later. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry you're sick. Hey, what did you think about the Duke game last night? Because I see a Duke flag sitting on their thing, right? I'll talk about Duke versus UNC. Doesn't matter. There's always a target. There's always something that is going to pivot their attention and let you in the door. All right. So that's a big roadblock, guys. At the door, you got to come prepared with that, right? Have that thing in your back pocket. The minute that they hit you with the roadblock, boom, I'm switching the subject to that, chit-chatting about that for 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'm just assuming my way into the presentation, right? Hey, Miss Betty, look, I could talk to you about your grandbabies all day, but I know you don't want me to do that. I'm going to go turn my car off. I'll be right back. Or let's go sit down on the porch real quick and go over this, and I'll be out of your hair, right? Simple. Okay, so that's how you guys beat that one. Let's see. Allie posted one. She said, I've just got way too much going on right now. Kids are home. Okay, so this is a good one, right? Guys, people aren't expecting you when you show up. A lot of times, if you're not setting appointments, right, and you're just showing up, or heck, you can even get that objection on a phone call when you're doing telesales. Maybe maybe your lead picks up like, hey, it's just too crazy right now. Call me back later. I want to identify if this is a real roadblock or not first. Okay. So if Miss Betty answers the door and it's very clear she's babysitting her grandbabies and there's 5 kids running around screaming, tearing her curtains off of her wall, I'm going to come back. All right. I'll take that objection for what it is. I'll come back later and then help her when she can actually think. Okay. So sometimes roadblocks are real and you don't want to force your way into a situation to where you can't even close the deal anyway, right? Because there's just too much going on. So if the roadblock's not real though, right? Like I can tell, like, yeah, there's kids in there, but it's, it's not crazy. It's not like my house, right? In the middle of the day. Then I'm going to say, hey, Miss Betty, no problem. Look, I've got 4 kids of my own. I promise you, whatever's going on in there is nothing that I don't see every single day. Let's go sit down. I'll help you watch them. Right. And I'll just crack a joke about it. People are generally going to answer these doors caught off guard. Right. So the best way to diffuse the roadblock is to just make light of the situation. All right. Sometimes, guys, the roadblocks at the door, they're not prepared, right? Their house isn't clean. They got dishes stacked up. They're too embarrassed to let you in. Just take that off the table. Hey, Miss Betty, I promise you, your house is way cleaner than mine is. It's no big deal. Let's go sit down at the kitchen table real quick, right? Just make light of the situation. Let's see what else you guys got. Think about one in the presentation. All right. When it comes down to a roadblock, let's see. Justin said, can you not read the no soliciting, get out of here sign? That's a good one. I don't really ever get that one. I'll be honest with you. I love the no soliciting signs because I'm not soliciting. They filled out a lead card. That's my permission to be there. It's just like, think about it this way, guys. If they ordered an Amazon package, the Amazon guy is not going to walk up to the door and keep the package because it says no soliciting on the door, right? So people that say that, it's real simple. I'll just say, hey, I get it. I post my yard up too. I've got no soliciting sign, but I'm actually not soliciting. This was something that you had sent in for. Have you had problems with people just showing up here before? And guys, I'm going to embrace the frustration. Only 2 people, like one person in an interaction can be more frustrated than the other one, right? And so a lot of times when people are just frustrated in general, it's so much, if you like take on that role of frustration, they stop being frustrated. So I'll be like, Miss Betty, that's crazy. People are just showing up here unannounced, right? Like how many, for you to put that sign up, you must get people knocking on your door every single day. And I'm going to like totally flip it around because I'm not soliciting. I have her name and all of her information that she just sent in for. It's not it. She's just confused, right? So guys, people that have no soliciting signs, or my favorite one is, you ever see those signs where it's got like a revolver and it says like people shot on, like, beware, don't beware of the dog, beware of the owner, like just funny signs like that. That's my target point. Like I was talking to you guys earlier, when I'm walking up to the door and I see that sign, as soon as they answer the door, I immediately make fun of the sign. So Miss Betty has that sign on her door and I'm walking up to it and she answers the door. I was like, don't shoot me, right? Don't shoot me. I'm just a delivery guy here to go over the final expense benefits that you had sent in for. I like that sign though. Where'd you get that thing? Like, that's what my door approach sounds like. I manipulate my door approach around whatever roadblocks coming up. So if you see a no soliciting sign, simple. Hey, Miss Betty, look, I'm not a solicitor. I see the sign, right? No problem. I'm just here to deliver the benefits that you actually had sent in for. No biggie. If you don't remember it, I'm going to go turn my car off. I'll be right back. I'm taking the roadblock out of the picture. Okay. Now, one thing with the no soliciting sign, guys, is I'm not going to neighbor knock a house that has that, right? Like if I'm only doing that to a lead. If I'm just going down a neighborhood and knocking on doors and it says no soliciting, I'm not going to knock that door just out of respect that it says that, right? But if it's a lead, it's fair game, right? They filled it out. So that's your permission ticket to get that. So let's see here what else you guys have. I'm going back through the chat. If I missed one, hey, you guys posted so many. If I missed one, then repost it there in the bottom because it's hard to follow up through this. So let's see. Sam said, my kids handle everything. This was one I was going to go over with you guys. This is a big roadblock. This is my rule. Okay. This is just like the traffic jam. You got to take the exit before you get hit with it, because if you get hit with it, it's very difficult to beat it afterwards. There's going to be clues for you inside of your presentation that this person runs everything by their kids. All right. There's always going to be clues. Number one, they live in the same house. Number two, they live on the same property, right? Mom lives here, kid lives here, another kid lives there. Number three, they have pictures of them, right? Like if somebody has pictures of their kids, and by kids, right, if you're a new agent, they're generally not kids anymore, right? You might be sitting down with Miss Betty, who's 80, and her kid is 60. So it's her kid, but it's an adult. But they handle everything. There's going to be clues. They're talking about them, right? They might even tell you up front that they handle everything for them. You want to be prepared so that you don't get hit with the objection of, hey, this is great, but I'm going to wait for my kid to review everything. Okay. You want to take this stuff off the table. So my general rule of thumb is if somebody's 75 years or older and they're very intentional, like kids, there's evidence, right, that the kids are very involved, you're probably going to get hit with this objection. All right. And I know that it's coming. So I want to tell them to do the very thing I know they're going to tell me to do that they need to do. And so it's simple. Hey, Miss Betty, look, I know we were talking about your son, Jack, earlier today, and he handles everything for you. So listen, I want you, here's my card, and I want you to make sure you give this to him so that at the end of this, whenever he has questions, I'm sure he's going to have questions, have him call me, and I'd be glad to come back by, go over everything or help, whatever he needs. Just have him call me. Here's my specific card just for you to give to Jack, and I'm going to leave you with one for you. But hey, look, what I need you to do first is I need you to talk it over with Jack later today or whenever you can talk to him about what we talked about today and about how you really want that $10,000 benefit for him. And so your job, your homework is to talk to him. And my homework is I need to make sure I can even get you qualified for this thing in the first place. And we'll circle back in like a week or two and review it all when your booklet comes in the mail. So I'm assuming Jack is the beneficiary, right? Why am I saying that? I'm going into the application, right? So Jack's the beneficiary. Okay, awesome, Miss Betty. And what'd you say your birthday was? I'm assuming the application. All right, that's how you do that, guys. You tell them to do the very thing they're going to hit you with, but then you immediately need to pivot and start doing the application. Don't stop and be like, well, talk to Jack, and when Jack gets back to you, then we can do that. Don't do that. Guys, I used to be not passive, but I would want the client to be like, well, yeah, Ryan, do it right now, or no, I'm going to wait. And I'll kind of like give them the option. And when I realized that was actually really hurting people by me not being assumptive was when I had a client do that. Hey, I want to talk to my kid first. And I was a new agent. I didn't assume the application. I'm like, okay, when you want to do it, I'll come back. She passed away like 2 weeks later, never talked to the kid. The kid had my card, thought she had insurance. And I had to tell him, well, no, she never took it out because she wanted to talk to you. At that instant, I realized, man, if I would have just been a better agent and assumed the application and wrote the thing, she would have been covered while she was talking it over with Jack. Because 99% of the time, they don't even talk it over with their kids. That's just a scapegoat objection, right? And I realized then that I was actually hurting clients by not being assumptive. Oh, you could almost say being too nice, right? Because they weren't moving forward with it. I had that situation happen. They don't have insurance. And it's like, dang, what if I just would have been a little bit more persistent, right? What if I would have been a little bit more assumptive and got the application? So, guys, you're not hurting people by assuming your way into an application. You're actually helping them. All right. Doesn't cost them anything for you to do it. So that's all I got for you guys. It's 9:30. Hopefully this helped you guys. Just a little like interaction, right? Of roadblocks you're going to come up to as an agent. And it's all practice. So to wrap up this call, I want you guys to realize this is just practice. Every day you go out there, practice beating the roadblocks before they become roadblocks, and watch how easy this job becomes. It becomes so much easier for you when you start doing that. So I appreciate you guys for jumping on here. Let's go finish the week strong today and tomorrow, and we will be back here on Monday.